Hello and welcome to the Items and Abilities Guide. In this video we're going to look at Genji's Monarch Blessing. This is an ability that can block 25% of any damage you take. So if it's from turrets, you block 25% of that. Solar boss, 25% of his damage. Any attack, nuke, snipes, anything blocks 25% of that. So won't be as effective against quick, weak attacks, like the turret for example. But it will be more effective against, say, the snipe. I'm watching the Leon jump around there. What's he doing? It will be more effective against snipes, explosions, huge burst, nuke attacks. It'll be effective against that. The shield will go on for 3 seconds when you activate it. And it will be on cooldown for about 14 seconds. So you can't pop it too often unless you want to change that. The range is 8. I'll try to show what I mean. So range, it always hits yourself, but if you are within range of your allies, only allied Awesomenauts doesn't do anything against droids anymore. So about this distance, a little bit further than that, it can reach quite well. It can go through platforms, solid walls. So if I had an ally up in the jungle, I could do that and that would heal them up. I'll see if I can't reach them again. I'll show how much damage it blocks here. So it doesn't block, it's not a lot, but against it does 30 damage rather than doing the 40 damage it would. So you kind of get the idea. It blocks 25% of that. So it's just a quarter damage is absorbed by your shield. So we'll take a look at the items. The first one is Hit and Leaves. Can be bought twice, 175 solar each time. This increases the percentage by, this adds 7.5% to the existing 25%. So it will be 32.5. So we'll be a little bit more effective. This is perhaps the preferred item if you're trying to block against heavy damaging attacks. Because against weak attacks, it barely does anything because it's on a percentage. So if you're trying to block against, say, Taming Pain's machine gun, not going to be as effective against the solar boss. Going to be more effective because it's able to not do anything. It will block a little bit more. It will block that 32.5. So from that. So it does work quite well. Just try to get in the way here. So it's a little bit, not a whole lot. But the stronger the attack, the more you will absorb. So you still take some damage, but you can try to reduce some of it anyway if you cannot dodge it for whatever reason. Adding another 7.5% to that will make it 15%. So 25 plus 15 will make it 40%. So that will make it 60 from the solar boss's 100 damage. Still doesn't do as well against weak attacks, taking 24 damage. My weapon taking 40. So not too effective if someone's attacking a lot with weak attacks. So against basic abilities, probably not as effective. Depends on who it is though. A tank or a nuker. It will certainly show its use. I'll just head up to the solar boss. So against the solar boss, it blocks about 60 damage. So it's 40%. So yeah, I think you get the idea. The bigger the attack, the more you'll soak up. The weaker attack, where you're blocking on a percentage, it will hardly block anything at all. So when you're trying to counter an attack, decide, it depends on whether it's a big attack or a smaller attack that you should use this item. Taking a look at the next item, Getting Out of the Hood. 175 solar. This will add 30% to whatever your movement speed is at that time. So this is an item to get if you're trying to escape from somebody. Can work quite well in that regard if you're trying to get out of an explosion radius, or if you're just trying to boost you and your allies to get somewhere faster. Run to your core if you're all in the shop, or if you're trying to get to the enemy core, anything like that. So as of 2.7.4, Genji kind of moves around like this. He slides around a little bit. I'll talk about that in the utilities guide. Adding 30% onto this speed right here will make it this fast. So you can kind of see it. You can feel a difference with Getting Out of the Hood. And with some characters, the faster they are, the more that percentage is going to apply. So if you use it on a Froggy G or someone who can travel quickly with their movement, they will really, really feel it. And even people who are slower, such as Clunk, they'll really appreciate having it. If you need to get somewhere faster or use on somebody where speed can be an advantage to them, help them chase down somebody, anything like that, this can be a great item with many, many uses. So take a look at how it affects with the boots on, just for the sake of it. So Genji, when he has +1, it appears to be, he tends to go this fast, so acceleration is pretty much gone. So in 2.7.3, I believe this was 17%, and I'm glad they got it reverted. So when you add the boots and getting out of the hood, you go about this fast by itself, and when you apply it, you go that fast. So a great way to charge into somebody or to make an escape plan. This can have a lot of good things. I can't really say anything against it. Unless you really need to get anything else, this is a great thing to have for both you and your allies as well. Okay, the cat pillar can be bought 3 times, 150 silver each. Adds a healing to whenever you apply the Monarch Blessing. It heals you and your allies if they're in range, 100 health. So I've taken some damage already. Each line represents 200 health. So I got some missing, I'll add 100 to my healing. Heals that. So I can't apply healing again until my cooldown's off. So it's not the most reliable healing. It's great for just fighting off, for making an attack last longer. If you and your allies both are taking quite a bit of damage, it can be applied to them as well. So if you need a decent boost of health to take down somebody if they got damage over time, it can work quite well for healing if they're in need of it. However, the only thing to take in mind is that if they're poisoned and you're on cooldown, that's where the shortfall comes in. So you might want to get another healing item or two, maybe like this or this to complement this. This is a good burst healing, and you might want to continue-ish source of healing for your allies. So heal yourself with this item, heal you and others, or heal others. This one doesn't affect Awesomenauts, but this one only affects Awesomenauts, and you can upgrade it 100 3 times. So we're showing you the first upgrade. Second one, it will now be 200. It's more noticeable where the mechanic, when it reaches 200, it makes the text pretty big. So it's fairly clear when somebody else has gotten it. So do that again. So you and both your allies can be healed 200 each time. And I'll do that one more time. So every 14 seconds you can pop the blessing and you'll be healed 300 each time. So it can work very, very, very well. At this point, 2 or 3 upgrades, it really does make its difference. So while fighting's going on, very basic fight. So like Coco needs that extra health to finish the fight. Give it to her, and then they won't die. It's fairly simple. Just do take the cooldown in consideration. If you end up using the item a lot, and it's a bunch of close saves, you might want to consider getting another healing item, because just in case you're on cooldown and they're taking damage over time, that's really the only shortfall I can think of. It's a decent price to it. It can be very, very reliable, except for that. So yeah, one of my personal recommendations, I use this almost always whenever I play Genji, because it's been useful, because when my allies don't need it, I can at least use it on myself, and vice versa. So it can work out very well in that regard. You can also change the cooldown too if you need to. We'll look at that shortly. Next item, Bronco Yeast, can be bought 3 times, 130 solar each time. Instead of adding a percentage like the Hidden Leaves does, this item gives a flat rate of 10. So no matter what the damage is, it will block 10 damage. So it's not very effective on big burst attacks, but the weaker the attack is, the more effective it is. So against basic abilities, test machine gun, anything with rapid fire but doesn't really hurt a lot, this item will work out quite well. So I'll use the turrets for example. So I have the 25% of 40, so that makes it 10. So I'll add the 10 to it. Taking 40 damage. Now I'm only taking 22. So the funny thing about the turrets is that it doesn't actually do by 10. I'm not sure if that's a text bug or anything like that. So I will try to test it on this guy here. So here's that. I get 60. So that So 37, 60. So 25% and then add 10 to it. That's what that is there. So I'll use it on the Solar Blast because I know he does 10 damage. So I have a look at that there. Yeah, so about 67. So it's not entirely accurate, but it's roughly 10. So about 8 or 9 each time. So if I do it again, grab some health here. So 40, add 20, so 15. Instead of 27, I think it was last time. Alright. So you kind of get the general idea of it. I don't think it adds exactly 10. Doesn't seem to. But even if I do this, 45. I'll do it again just to have a second look. I'll try to get in the way of these guys here so I can kind of calculate how much damage it's blocking. So I'll be blocking 25% of that damage and then add. And then subtract 30. So try to get in the way of these droids here. So 37 blocks 42 damage. Then I'll close this item off by showing it to the turrets and see how much that blocks off. I think it wasn't exactly 10 for the turrets because we have 25%. If you add 30 to that, you're blocking all the damage. So as you can see, I'm not taking 40 damage and my health's going down. I'm only taking 7 damage. And it's barely doing anything. It's roughly, in the old stats, roughly 1. So you could abuse that before by mixing it with Durple shields. And you can have an invulnerable Durple, but that got patched out. I tried it. Don't worry about it. So it's roughly 10 on turrets, but everything else appears to be... It reduces damage by 10 more. So if you're trying to turret sponge, don't expect to be invincible while doing that. And it won't be as effective against nukes, snipes, burst attacks, whatever they may be. So it's more effective against the turret or just weaker attacks in general. The next item, Crimson Calendar, can be bought twice, 165 slower each time. This will reduce the cooldown by 1.5 seconds each time. So if you think that the cooldown's a little bit too much, if you like to reduce it, if you need to use it more often for whatever reason, block more damage, add it with healing or anything else like that, you can do that. So where it's 14 seconds starting off, taking a second off that, will be 12.5, as you can see at the bottom of the screen. So we'll do that again. That will take 3 seconds off the timer. So when you pop the Monarch Blessing, it will be 11 seconds this time. So if you need to use it more often, and if you've been just a second away from activating the blessing and you got killed, or you couldn't escape, you took too much damage in that duration, just wasn't enough without your shield, you can do this, and you'll be able to have a little bit more leeway. The cooldown won't be as much as an obstacle to you, and you'll be able to use your shield more often for whatever reason you need to. Okay, the last item in the belt, Spiritual Cooking. Can be bought twice, 195 solar each time, so I believe it's the most expensive item in this belt. And it is. And it's been given that price because it gives you and your allies 150 more max health. So it doesn't heal, but it adds maximum health. So my damage is here, or my health is here. And I'll find an ally to use this to kind of show that it does work against your allies as well. So look at our health. It adds a little bit more to that. Not a whole lot, it's barely noticeable, but you can buy it again. I'll also show this only works once per life, so I can't just use it over and over again and get 150 more max health. So I shall see. Doesn't change it at all. It works on Swiggins because that's the first time receiving that, but I can't do it any more times. If I die, I can apply it again and it will start. But that it will only give me a maximum of 150 per upgrade. So if I buy 2 upgrades, I can upgrade my health by a maximum of 150 more. So using myself adds another 150. So you can grow 300 health. So it's pretty much you're giving your allies free power pills. So that can work out quite well, especially for weaker characters, someone who's an assassin or a speedy character, Boltar even. if you're on a team with Voltar. So it can even just be more effective with tanks as well. Clung. Take more damage and not have to worry about it as much. I like to use this item when I or my teammates are dying quite a bit. It kind of helps with them not do that. So it's kind of a good training wheels item. However, it is the last one on this belt, so you won't be able to unlock it for a little while. So yeah, hopefully that was of use to you. Hopefully you learned a thing or two off that. Thanks very much for watching.